chosen one. Why does Monday feel different this time? Why has your spirit been restless for the past 72 hours, waking you at 3 a.m., pressing on your chest like a weight you can't name? Why do you feel like something ancient is about to crack open, yet everyone around you is acting like it's just another week? Stop scrolling. Heaven just pressed pause on your life to deliver this word directly to you. Monday is not another day on your calendar. It's a doorway, a prophetic hinge between what was and what must now be. And if you're hearing this message right now, if your finger hesitated before scrolling past, that's not algorithm, that's assignment. You were summoned here. Listen carefully. Time itself is bending. Realms are thinning. What's been locked in the spirit for decades is about to shatter into your reality. This isn't hype. This isn't motivation. This is divine interruption. And you, sitting exactly where you are, with exactly the scars you carry, with exactly the years you've survived, you were marked for this Monday before you ever took your first breath. You've been walking through your days feeling like thunderclouds are gathering, but no one else sees the storm. That's because they're not chosen. But you, God, etched your name into this moment in eternity past. Before this message ends, you will understand why you had to walk through decades of silence, why doors slammed in your face, why prayers seemed to bounce off heaven's ceiling, why you felt invisible while others were celebrated. Because this Monday is about to answer it all. If your chest is already stirring right now, if something in your spirit is trembling with recognition, type "I hear it" in the comments below. That's not superstition. That's not religious ritual. That's alignment. That's your spirit responding to what your mind hasn't fully grasped yet. When you type those two words, you're signaling to heaven, I'm awake, I'm ready, I won't miss this. Before we go deeper, and we're going deep, I want to pause and honor something sacred. Thank you to every single one of you who has supported this message through Super Thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here. Your support, your time, your attention, it all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and let the Holy Spirit lead your heart. Now here's the truth that's going to shatter everything. Monday is a spiritual hinge point, a line heaven has drawn. On one side is everything you've known, the delay, the disappointment, the decades of wondering if God forgot about you. On the other side is what you've been carrying in secret, about to break open in power. This isn't just another Monday. This is your resurrection morning. And resurrection doesn't ask permission. It demands a response. Are you ready? How many more mornings will you wake up wondering if anyone remembers your name? How many more Sundays will you sit in that same pew, surrounded by people half your age who look right through you like your furniture? How many more nights will you lie awake at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling, whispering prayers that feel like they're bouncing off plaster instead of reaching heaven? Listen to me, chosen one. I know exactly where you are right now. I know about the silence that fills your house since your spouse passed. I know about that chair at the dinner table that stays empty. I know about the grandchildren who text you once a month if you're lucky, who promise to visit but never do. I know about the prescription bottles lined up on your kitchen counter, the bills you're juggling on a fixed income, the way you've stopped dreaming, because dreaming feels like lying to yourself. You've buried friends who were supposed to grow old with you. You've outlived dreams that once burned so bright they kept you up at night with excitement. Now the only thing keeping you up is regret, whispering in your ear, too late, you missed it, your time is gone. But what if I told you that Monday is God's reply to your years of waiting? You see, the church stopped calling you to serve. Your children stopped asking your advice. Society decided that at 70, at 80, at 90, you're supposed to just fade quietly into the background. They handed you a gold watch and told you your purpose expired with your paycheck. They put you on the shelf like you're a decoration from a past era, something to dust off at holidays but never really use. And somewhere deep inside, you started believing them. You started believing that your best years are behind you, that your prayers don't carry weight anymore, that God's moved on to younger, stronger, more relevant vessels. You look in the mirror and see wrinkles, and you've forgotten that those lines are actually roads, maps of everywhere you've walked with God, proof that you survived what should have killed you. But here's what breaks my heart most. You've been crying in secret. At 2 a.m. when insomnia hits and memories flood in, when you're sitting alone at the kitchen table with your morning coffee, talking to a spouse who's been gone 5 years, when you're scrolling through photos of grandchildren who are growing up without you, those tears, chosen one, those silent, secret tears, God has been collecting every single one. Psalm 56:8 says, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. Not some of them, all of them. Every tear you've cried thinking you were forgotten, God caught it. Every prayer you whispered believing no one was listening, He recorded it. Every moment you felt invisible, He was taking notes." Let me tell you about Anna. She's in Luke chapter 2, 84 years old, widowed after only 7 years of marriage. She spent the next 77 years in the temple praying, fasting, waiting. 77 years. Think about that. While everyone around her got married, had children, built lives, she stayed in that temple, day after day, year after year, decade after decade. People probably whispered about her. Poor Anna. She wasted her life. She's just that old woman who won't leave the temple. She missed everything. But then one ordinary day, a young couple walked in carrying their baby for dedication, and Anna, 84 years old, looked at that infant and became one of the first people in human history to recognize the Messiah. She didn't miss it. She was positioned for it. Her waiting wasn't wasted. It was strategic. You weren't forgotten, chosen one. You were preserved. Think about a diamond locked in a vault. It's not there because it's worthless. It's there because it's priceless. The most valuable treasures aren't left out where thieves can steal them. They're hidden, protected, guarded until the exact moment they're needed. That's been you, hidden not in punishment but in protection. Guarded not because you're irrelevant, but because what you carry is sacred. Every closed door, every passed over promotion, every time you were ready to be used. But heaven said not yet. It wasn't rejection, it was preservation. God was saving you for a moment when the world would be desperate enough to receive what only you can give. A moment when your wisdom would be more valuable than youthful energy. A moment when your tested faith would mean more than untested passion. And that moment is Monday. If this is speaking to your bones right now, if something inside you is trembling with recognition, I need you to do something. Write in the comments, "I've been hidden, not forgotten." Don't just think it, declare it. Let heaven see your confession. Let the angels witness your awakening. Let hell know you're no longer believing the lie that your season is over. Because here's the truth that's about to change everything. Your hiddenness is about to end. Monday marks your unveiling. Every year you thought was wasted was actually preparation. Every tear you cried in secret was actually intercession. Every moment you felt invisible was actually God concealing you like a weapon, keeping you sharp, keeping you pure, keeping you ready for a battle the world doesn't even know is coming yet. You are not too old. You are not too late. You are not forgotten. You are about to be revealed. And when Monday comes, everything you've been carrying in silence is about to break open in power. But first, you need to understand exactly what's been happening in the unseen realm while you've been waiting. Listen to me carefully, chosen one. Monday isn't just a day. It's not another square on your calendar between Sunday and Tuesday. Monday is a prophetic shift, an appointment heaven wrote into the fabric of eternity before your grandmother's grandmother was even born, before the first star burned, before the first ocean kissed the shore. God looked down the corridors of time, saw this Monday, saw you, and marked it with divine ink. This is what the ancient Greeks called kairos time. Not chronos, the ticking of clocks, the turning of pages, the mundane march of minutes. Chronos is what you've been living in for 70, 80, 90 years. Wake up, go to bed, repeat. Bills arriving, seasons changing, birthdays passing. That's Chronos time, ordinary, predictable, empty of intervention. But Kairos? Kairos is when eternity crashes into your Tuesday morning. It's when heaven interrupts earth. It's when God steps into your timeline and says, now, not next week. Not when you're ready. Now. And Monday, this Monday, is a Kairos moment, burning with divine appointment. You want proof? Turn with me to the book of Joshua, chapter 6. The children of Israel stood before Jericho, massive walls, impossible odds, 40 years of wandering behind them, and God gave them strange instructions. March around the city once a day for 6 days. Just walk, say nothing, do nothing, just obey. Can you imagine what they felt? Day 1, the walls stood. Day 2, nothing changed. Day 3, 4, 5 still standing, mocking them, towering over them. I guarantee you some of them whispered, "This isn't working. God's not moving. Maybe we missed it." But on the 7th day, the appointed day, the Kairos day, God said, "Now march 7 times, and this time shout." And when they did, those walls didn't just crack. They didn't slowly crumble. They collapsed. Instantly, completely, supernaturally. That's Monday, beloved. You've been marching in circles for years, maybe decades, wondering when something's going to move. You've been obedient in silence. You've kept walking when others quit. You've stayed faithful when it looked foolish. Day after day after day, and nothing seemed to change. But heaven's been counting, and Monday is your 7th day. Now here's what you need to understand about this moment, and it's going to hit you like lightning. What you do Monday won't just affect you, it will ripple across generations. Your obedience on Monday will break chains your great-grandchildren would have inherited. Your surrender on Monday will open doors your bloodline has been locked out of for 100 years. Your yes on Monday becomes someone else's freedom 40 years from now. This isn't just about your personal breakthrough. This is about generational deliverance. You are not the end of the line. You are the turning point. But I hear some of you right now, and the enemy's been whispering it in your ear for weeks. I'm too old. I'm too late. I've missed too much. If God was going to use me, wouldn't he have done it already? Stop. Breathe. Listen to what I'm about to tell you, because this is the key that unlocks everything. Delay was not denial. It was divine protection. Think about a womb. When a mother carries a child, there's a beautiful, holy mystery happening inside her body that no one else can see. For 9 months, that baby is hidden, growing, forming in secret. And then, when the time is perfect, not a day early, not a day late, contractions begin. Pressure, pain, the sensation that something massive is about to break through. That pressure doesn't mean something's wrong. That pressure means it's time to birth. Chosen one, you've been in a spiritual womb, hidden, growing, forming in ways you couldn't see and others couldn't celebrate. Every year you thought was wasted was actually gestation. Every door that closed was God saying, "Not yet, you're not fully formed." Every person who walked away was heaven protecting what was developing inside you. You weren't being punished, you were being prepared. And the pressure you've been feeling lately, that's not anxiety, that's contractions. That's your spirit recognizing that birthing time has arrived. Do you understand what I'm telling you? What felt like wasted years were God's precise timing. You weren't behind schedule. You were right on time for a delivery only you can make. Moses was 80 when he stood before Pharaoh. Abraham was 75 when God called him to leave everything. Sarah was 90 when she gave birth to nations. Your age isn't your disqualification, it's your qualification. Because here's the revelation that's going to shatter every lie you've believed. Monday is the release date. Not someday, not eventually. Monday. Heaven scheduled it. Angels are positioned for it. The spiritual realm is holding its breath for it. Every tear you cried in secret collected. Every prayer you whispered in the dark recorded. Every moment you stayed faithful when no one was watching, heaven took notes. And now, all of that stored up obedience, all of that accumulated faithfulness, all of that refined character is about to be poured out in a flood of manifestation. The birthing room is ready. The delivery team is assembled. And Monday morning, when you open your eyes, you won't just be waking up. You'll be walking into the moment your entire life has been preparing you for. But here's the question that will determine everything. Will you recognize it when it comes? Because Kairos moments don't announce themselves with trumpets. They show up disguised as ordinary Mondays, waiting to see who's awake enough to respond. You've been under attack, haven't you? And I'm not talking about the usual struggles. I'm talking about something fiercer, something that hit you out of nowhere this past week. The anxiety that woke you at 2 a.m. with your heart racing. The thoughts that whispered you're too old, too late, too broken. The exhaustion that feels heavier than any physical labor you've ever done in your 70, 80, 90 years of life. Let me tell you why. Hell saw the calendar. Demons recognized what Monday represents. And they mobilized every weapon in their arsenal to wear you down before you could cross the threshold. That warfare you've been experiencing. It's not random. It's strategic. The enemy doesn't waste energy on people who pose no threat. He attacks those who are about to break through. Listen to what Scripture reveals in Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. That word wrestle in the original Greek means to vibrate against. You've been vibrating with spiritual resistance because you're pressing against a barrier that's about to shatter. Think about an archer drawing back his bow. The arrow doesn't move forward immediately. First, it's pulled back, held in tension, paralyzed in position. And the further back it's drawn, the more force builds behind it. That's you right now. You're not stuck. You're being drawn back for explosive release. The tension you feel is not your ending, it's your launching. But the enemy wants you to misread this moment. He wants you to interpret the pressure as failure when it's actually the sign of imminent victory. He knows something about Monday that your natural mind hasn't fully grasped yet. And so he's flooding your thoughts with lies. You're too old to matter now. Your time has passed. You should just settle in and fade quietly. Those aren't your thoughts, beloved. Those are demonic whispers designed to neutralize you before Monday activates what God has been building in secret. Look at Joseph. Genesis 41 tells us he spent years in prison falsely accused, forgotten by the very people he helped, rotting in darkness while his dreams seemed to mock him. But the night before Pharaoh called for him, do you think Joseph knew? Do you think he woke up that morning and said, "Today's the day I become second in command of Egypt"? No, he woke up in the same cell, with the same chains, facing what looked like another day of nothing. But that morning, everything changed. In one conversation, Joseph went from prisoner to prime minister, from forgotten to essential, from the pit to the palace, not because he was young, not because he was perfect, but because his time had come. David knew this pattern too. 1 Samuel tells us he spent years running through caves, hunted like an animal by King Saul, years of hiding, years of watching lesser men sit on the throne that God had already promised him. The crown was his, but the cave was his current address. And I guarantee you, David faced thoughts that whispered, maybe Samuel heard God wrong. Maybe you're not really anointed. Maybe you should just give up. But David kept moving, kept trusting, kept holding on to the oil that had been poured over him in private, even when his public circumstances screamed the opposite. And now here you are, 75 years old, 82 years old, 90 years old, and the enemy has been whispering the same poison. You're irrelevant now. The world has moved on. Younger people are taking over. Your voice doesn't matter anymore. That is a lie from the pit of hell. Your scars are your credentials. Every year you've survived, every test you've passed, every heartbreak that didn't destroy you, those aren't disqualifications. They're documentation that you can carry weight others can't handle. Moses was 80 when God called him to lead Israel out of bondage. Abraham was 99 when God renewed his covenant. Anna the prophetess was 84 when she recognized the Messiah in the temple. God doesn't measure your value by your age, He measures it by your surrender. And you've been surrendered. You've been faithful when no one was watching. You've worshipped through the wilderness. You've kept going when quitting would have been easier. The enemy told you this was retirement, but God says this is redeployment. You're not winding down, you're being repositioned for your most powerful assignment yet. Because this generation doesn't need more voices with energy but no experience. They need voices with authority earned through fire. They need the kind of wisdom that only comes from walking with God through decades of both triumph and tears. That attack you felt this week, that heaviness, that confusion, that sudden resurgence of old thoughts you thought you'd conquered, that wasn't proof of defeat. That was confirmation you're close. So close that hell panicked and threw everything at you to get you to quit 3 days before your breakthrough. Resistance is always fiercest right before the door opens. The labor pains intensify right before birth. The darkest hour is just before dawn. And your warfare intensified because Monday is not just another day, it's your delivery date. The enemy can't stop Monday from coming, but he's betting he can stop you from walking through it. He's gambling that if he hits you hard enough, confuses you long enough, exhausts you deeply enough, you'll retreat into doubt and miss the open door. But you won't, because you recognize the pattern now. If you felt the attacks intensify this past week, if the warfare got more personal, more psychological, more relentless type, I see the pattern in the comments right now. Naming it breaks its power. When you call out the strategy, you disarm the tactic. Your declaration becomes a weapon that cuts through spiritual fog and announces to every demon assigned to distract you, I know what you're doing. And it won't work. You are not going crazy. You are going forward. And forward always requires pushing through resistance. But here's what you need to understand as we move into what Monday actually holds. The very thing that tried to crush you is about to become the platform that launches you. There's a door standing in front of you right now. You can't see it with your natural eyes, but your spirit has been circling it for days, maybe weeks, maybe your entire life. This door wasn't built by human hands. It wasn't designed by architects or hung by carpenters. This door was carved in eternity, spoken into existence by the mouth of God Himself, and positioned at this exact moment in time with your name engraved on the threshold. The Word of God declares in Revelation 3:8, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. Did you catch that? An open door, not cracked, not slightly ajar, wide open. And here's what will shake you to your core. No man, no demon, no circumstance, no past failure can slam it shut. When heaven opens a door, it stays open until you walk through it or turn away from it. But here's the weight you need to feel pressing on your chest right now. This door has two sides. On one side, the side you've been standing on for 70, 80, maybe 90 years, are the cycles, the patterns, the delays that felt like denials, the closed doors that broke your heart, the prayers you whispered into the dark, wondering if God's hearing aid was broken, the promises you carried in silence while watching others walk into their breakthrough. That's one side. On the other side of this door is everything you've prayed for when no one was listening. Every tear you cried at 3 a.m. when your body ached and your soul felt forgotten. Every moment you wanted to quit, but something inside you, something you couldn't name, kept you breathing, kept you believing, kept you standing when falling would have been easier. Monday is the threshold between these two realities, and you're standing at the edge of a choice that will echo through eternity. Let me ask you something that's going to cut deep. How many more years are you going to stand at the door and just stare at it? How many more months are you going to let fear whisper that you're too old, too broken, too late? How many more days are you going to waste wondering if you're worthy when God Himself said the door is open? This is not about being ready. Nobody is ever fully ready when heaven moves. Moses wasn't ready at 80, Sarah wasn't ready at 90. But God doesn't wait for readiness. He waits for willingness. And here's what the enemy doesn't want you to understand. Every moment you hesitate, every second you delay, you're not just affecting your life. You're holding up someone else's freedom. There are people connected to your obedience. Grandchildren who need to see what real faith looks like. Neighbors drowning in despair who need to witness that God still keeps His promises. A generation that's been lied to about aging, about purpose, about whether your years still matter. Your obedience through this door isn't just about you finally getting your breakthrough. It's about you becoming the breakthrough for others who are still bound by the same chains you just broke. Listen to me carefully. There's a reason why the attacks have intensified this past week. There's a reason why doubt has been screaming louder than it has in years. There's a reason why your body has felt heavier, your mind foggier, your spirit more pressed. Because hell recognizes what you're about to do. Darkness knows that when you walk through this door on Monday, something shifts in the spiritual realm that cannot be undone. You're not just stepping into blessing, you're stepping into responsibility. And responsibility requires something most people aren't willing to give. It requires you to burn the bridge behind you, to cut off the option of retreat, to make peace with the fact that once you cross this threshold, there's no crawling back to comfort, no returning to the familiar cage, no settling for the lesser life you've outgrown. The children of Israel stood at the edge of the Red Sea with Egypt's army behind them and impossible waters in front of them. And God didn't part the sea until Moses lifted his staff, until he moved in faith, until he demonstrated that he was willing to walk forward, even when the path looked like death. Your staff is your obedience. Your Red Sea is Monday, and heaven is waiting to see if you'll lift it. Now here's your prophetic act. Right now, before you scroll past this moment, before doubt talks you out of it, before fear convinces you it's silly, comment 444 below. 4 represents doors in Scripture, the 4 corners of the earth, the 4 winds, the 4 living creatures around God's throne. When you type 444, you're not performing a superstition. You're making a declaration in the unseen realm. You're saying to heaven, I see the door. I honor the timing. I choose obedience over hesitation. You're telling hell, you tried to stop me, but I'm walking through anyway. And you're sealing in the Spirit what God has already declared over your life, that this Monday, the door doesn't just open wider, you walk through it. But hear me clearly, chosen one. This window won't stay open forever. Divine timing has expiration dates. When God says now, He means now. Not next week when you feel more prepared. Not next month when circumstances look better. Now. This Monday. This moment. Because what's on the other side of this door isn't waiting for your convenience, it's waiting for your courage. So the question burning in front of you isn't whether you're qualified. The question is whether you're willing. Will you cross the threshold? Or will you spend the rest of your years wondering what would have happened if you had just said yes? Chosen one, what I'm about to tell you will shatter every lie you've believed about your age, your time, and your worth. You think Monday's shift is just about you. You think this prophetic moment is personal. But listen to me carefully. Your yes on Monday isn't just for your bank account. It's not just for your peace of mind. It's not even just for your healing. Your obedience on Monday is for your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren who haven't been born yet. For bloodlines you'll never meet who will walk in freedom because you said yes when it cost you everything. You are not the end of your family story. You are the turning point. Think about the weight of that. Right now, there are chains wrapped around your family tree that go back 4, 5, 6 generations. Poverty, addiction, divorce, depression, shame. These patterns didn't start with you, but heaven is saying they can end with you. Every ancestor who prayed in desperation, who cried out for breakthrough, who whispered, "God, let someone in this bloodline know your goodness," they were prophesying over your life. You are their wildest answered prayer. But here's what breaks my heart. Some of you are sitting there thinking, "I'm 75 years old. I'm 83. I'm 91. My time has passed. I've missed my moment." Stop right there. Let me tell you about Abraham. Genesis 12 tells us God called him to leave everything at 75 years old. 75. When the world would have put him in a retirement village, God handed him the assignment to father nations. Not just a family, nations, bloodlines that would bless every family on earth. And Sarah? She was 90 years old when Isaac was born. 90. Her body was past the biological ability to conceive. Medical science would have laughed at the possibility. But God doesn't operate on medical reports. He operates on prophetic timing. And her 90-year-old womb became the birthplace of promise. Then there's Caleb. Joshua 14:10 records it clearly. He was 85 years old when he stood before the promised land and declared, "Give me this mountain, not give me a rocking chair, not give me peace and quiet, give me the giants, give me the impossible, give me the assignment everyone else is afraid of." Your age is not your disqualification, it's your credential. Every wrinkle on your face is a battle scar. Every grey hair is a crown of wisdom. Every year you've survived is proof that you carry something the enemy couldn't kill. And now heaven is saying, everything you've endured was training. Everything you've suffered was preparation. And Monday is your commissioning day. You've been running a relay race your entire life. You didn't know it, but you have been. Your grandparents ran their leg. Your parents ran theirs. Some of them stumbled. Some of them fell. Some of them never crossed the finish line. But you're in the final stretch, and the baton is in your hand. What you do on Monday determines whether the next runner starts strong or starts broken, whether they inherit blessing or burden, whether they walk in freedom or fight the same demons you fought. This is not pressure, this is privilege. Heaven trusted you with the final lap. I know some of you have spent nights whispering, "Why me, Lord? Why did I have to carry this weight? Why did I have to walk through so much pain?" Because heaven trusted you. Because God knew that when the moment came, when Monday arrived, you wouldn't shrink back. You wouldn't bow to fear. You wouldn't let comfort steal your calling. Your scars are not shame. They are credentials. Every wound you carry, every heartbreak you survived, every valley you walked through, they didn't disqualify you. They qualified you. Because now when you speak with authority. When you pray with power. When you stand, hell itself trembles. You are not a victim of your story. You are the victor who rewrites it. Right now, there's a young person in your family drowning in the same despair that once tried to take you under. There's a marriage on the brink of collapse, repeating the same patterns that destroyed previous generations. There's an addiction tightening its grip, convinced it will win like it always has. But Monday changes that. Your obedience becomes their oxygen. Your yes becomes their deliverance. Your breakthrough becomes their birthright. This is bigger than you ever imagined. This is generational. This is eternal. This is the moment when heaven looks at your bloodline and declares, "The curse stops here. The pain ends now. The chains break today." If you feel the weight of legacy on your shoulders right now, if something in your spirit is confirming that this message is about you, type these 7 words in the comments. I am the answer to their prayers. Say it out loud if you have to. Declare it over your life, because when you do, something shifts in the heavenlies. Angels take position, doors swing open, and every ancestor who ever prayed for breakthrough stands in the cloud of witnesses and says, "Finally, finally, someone said yes." You are not aging out, chosen one. You are aging into your greatest hour. The world sees your years and expects decline. Heaven sees your years and anticipates explosion. What you thought was your sunset is actually your sunrise. Monday is not just another day. It's the day your legacy becomes louder than your limitations. And everything, absolutely everything you've survived, has been leading to this moment. So the question that will echo through eternity is this: when Monday comes, will you be the one who breaks the cycle or the one who continues it? What if Monday isn't just a shift? What if it's an unveiling? Listen to me carefully, chosen one. For 70, 80, maybe 90 years, you've been staring at your life like it's a puzzle with missing pieces. You've held fragments in your weathered hands, moments of glory mixed with decades of confusion, prophecies spoken over you that never seemed to manifest, dreams that burned bright in your youth but faded into the practical demands of survival. You've wondered, haven't you? Late at night when sleep won't come and the house is too quiet. You've asked God, did I miss something? Was there a page in my story that got torn out before I could read it? Why does my life feel like a book with chapters missing? But what if those pages weren't missing? What if they were simply veiled? Picture this. Imagine a master architect who designs a building so magnificent, so intricate, that he doesn't reveal the full blueprint until every foundation stone is in place, until every beam is tested, until every corner is proven strong enough to hold the weight of what's coming. You don't show the blueprint to workers who aren't ready to build what it demands. That's what's been happening to you. There has been a blueprint over your life since before your mother's womb. A divine design, a sacred scroll with your name written in the handwriting of the Almighty. But heaven kept it under a veil, not to punish you, not to confuse you, but to protect what was too precious to be revealed prematurely. The veil is thinning. The veil is thinning. The veil is thinning. Do you feel it? That strange sensation like spiritual cataracts are being removed from your eyes, like you're beginning to see connections you never saw before. Like suddenly the pain makes sense, the delay has purpose, the wilderness had a reason. In Revelation chapter 10 verse 2, John saw an angel holding a little scroll, which lay open in his hand. Open, no longer sealed, no longer hidden. The time had come for what was written to be revealed and consumed. And the angel told John in verse 9, "Take it and eat it. It will turn your stomach sour, but in your mouth it will be as sweet as honey." That's Monday, beloved. That's what's coming. The scroll of your life, the blueprint that's been rolled up in heaven's archives, is about to be opened, and you will consume it. You will taste the sweetness of finally understanding why. But it will also turn your stomach, because you'll realize how close you came to giving up right before the unveiling. The prophet Ezekiel experienced this same moment. God showed him a scroll written on both sides, front and back, filled with words of lament and mourning and woe. And then God said something that will wreck you. "Son of man, eat this scroll I am giving you, and fill your stomach with it." Ezekiel 3 verse 3 tells us, "So I ate it, and it tasted as sweet as honey in my mouth." Your mourning had words written on it. Your lament was documented. Your woe was not random. Every tear was a sentence in the blueprint. Every closed door was a comma, not a period. Every delay was a paragraph break, preparing you for the next chapter that required different strength than you had in the previous season. But here's where it gets urgent. Here's where you must pay attention with every fiber of your being. Blueprints are only valuable when acted upon. You can have the most magnificent design in the world, but if you never break ground, if you never pick up the tools, if you never obey the instructions written on those sacred pages, the blueprint becomes nothing but pretty lines on paper. Monday is the day heaven hands you the scroll and says, "Now, build." Not next week. Not when you feel more ready. Not when your knees don't ache or your bank account looks better or your children finally understand you. Now, because the blueprint has a time frame, the design has a season, and that season is narrowing to a point so specific that hesitation becomes disobedience. Why do you think the warfare intensified these past few weeks? Why do you think doubt screamed louder, fear knocked harder, old patterns resurfaced with vengeance? because the enemy saw the calendar. He saw Monday circled in heaven's appointment book. He saw that the veil was scheduled to lift, and he threw everything he had at you to make sure you'd be too tired, too confused, too broken to receive what's about to be revealed. But you're still here. You're still listening. That's not accident. That's armor. The veil is thinning. The veil is thinning. The veil is thinning. And when it fully lifts, when Monday morning breaks and you open your eyes, and the first thought that crosses your mind carries a clarity you haven't felt in decades, you will know. You won't need another confirmation. You won't need someone to interpret it for you. Because this isn't head knowledge. This is heart knowing. This is spirit recognition. Your life wasn't a mistake. The pain wasn't pointless. The delay wasn't denial. It was all written, every bit of it, front and back, lament and promise, mourning and glory. And now the scroll is opening. If you've felt like your story had missing chapters, if you've lived with the ache of there must be more than this, type "the veil lifts" in the comments right now, not as superstition, as declaration, as agreement with what heaven is already doing. Because Monday isn't bringing something new. Monday is revealing what's always been true. The blueprint was there all along. The design never changed. You just couldn't see it yet. But now the veil is thin as gossamer. Now the light is breaking through. Now the architect is rolling out the plans and pointing to your name in the corner, saying, "This one, this design, this life, it's time." And once you see it, once you really see what's been written over your life from the beginning, you won't be able to walk the same. You won't talk the same. You won't settle the same. Because you'll finally understand what you've been carrying and why it had to be you. So I ask you now, chosen one, with everything in you, are you ready to see what's been hidden? Are you ready for the veil to lift completely? Are you ready to consume the scroll and let it fill your stomach, even if the truth tastes both sweet and bitter? Because Monday is not asking permission. Monday is announcing arrival. And the question isn't whether the blueprint exists. The question is whether you'll build what it reveals. Chosen one, let me tell you something that's going to cut straight to the bone. Lately, the loudest battle you've been fighting hasn't been outside your four walls. It hasn't been at the doctor's office. It hasn't been in your bank account or your empty living room, or even at the graveside where you buried people you loved. The fiercest war you've been waging is inside your own head. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, don't you? That voice, the one that wakes you up at 4 a.m. and whispers in the dark. The one that follows you from room to room in that too quiet house. The one that speaks in your own tone, using your own doubts, wearing your own face. You're too late. You're too broken. You're too forgotten. You wasted your best years. God's moved on. Your moment passed 20 years ago. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me you haven't heard those exact words echoing in your mind while you sat alone with your morning coffee, staring at the wall, wondering if anyone would even notice if you stopped showing up. Tell me you haven't questioned whether your life still matters, whether your prayers still reach heaven, whether there's any purpose left in these bones that ache more than they used to. But here's what you need to understand right now. That voice, it's not yours, and it's not God's. Think about it like this. You ever try to listen to an old AM radio station late at night? You turn that dial, trying to catch a clear signal, but all you get is static, interference, noise, someone jamming the frequency, trying to drown out the broadcast you're searching for. That's exactly what's been happening in your mind, chosen one. The enemy has been flooding your frequency with static, trying to drown out what heaven has been whispering to you. Because here's the truth that hell doesn't want you to discover. They only jam frequencies that carry messages worth hearing. You think the devil wastes his time whispering lies to people who don't matter? You think he assigns his best demons to torment ordinary souls with no prophetic threat? No. He attacks those who carry something he fears. And the intensity of the warfare you've been experiencing is direct proof of the weight you carry. Remember Elijah? That mighty prophet who called down fire from heaven, who confronted 450 prophets of Baal and watched God consume his sacrifice while theirs sat cold and dead. 1 Kings chapter 18 records one of the greatest victories in Scripture. But what happened next? Chapter 19 tells us that one woman, Jezebel, threatened his life, and suddenly this giant of faith was running into the wilderness, sitting under a broom tree, begging God to let him die. "I have had enough, Lord. Take my life." Sound familiar? One of the most powerful prophets in history, and he wanted to quit. Why? Because after the fire, after the earthquake, after the wind, God spoke to him not in the spectacular, but in the whisper. 1 Kings 19:12 says it was a still, small voice. But here's what most people miss. Before Elijah could hear God's whisper, he had to survive the noise, the crashing, the chaos, the voices in his own head telling him he was alone, forgotten, finished. He had to push through the static to get to the signal. That's where you are right now. You've been surviving the noise, the accusations, the doubts that sound so convincing because they're wrapped in your own voice. But Monday, this Monday that's coming, is your moment to tune out the static and lock onto heaven's frequency. Because hell has been shouting lies at you for months, maybe years, screaming that you're washed up, that your children don't need you, that your prayers are powerless, that your testimony doesn't matter anymore, that God used you once but he's done with you now. But heaven has been whispering truth, quietly, persistently, under all that noise. You are not forgotten. Your latter days will be greater than your former. I have kept you alive for this specific hour. The best wine is saved for last. The question is, which voice will you believe on Monday? Because Monday is the deciding day, the hinge point. The moment when you either agree with hell's accusations or align with heaven's declaration. And I need you to understand something that's going to shake you. The enemy's lies about you, they're not random insults. They're calculated attempts to keep you silent. Because your voice carries authority that's been earned through decades of faithfulness. Your prayers carry weight that can only come from walking with God through fire. Your testimony carries power that threatens every lie the devil has been building in the lives of your children, your grandchildren, everyone who's watching you. That's why the attack has been so personal. That's why the doubts have been so specific. That's why the whispers know exactly which wounds to press on, which failures to replay, which regrets to magnify. Because if he can get you to believe you're finished, you'll stop using the very weapons that terrify him most. Your weathered faith, your tested trust, your refusal to quit, even when quitting makes perfect sense. Joel 2:28 promises, "I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your old men will dream dreams. Not used to dream, not once dreamed, will dream." Present tense. Active. Right now, God is still speaking, still moving, still positioning his chosen ones who've survived long enough to carry wisdom this generation desperately needs. But you have to choose which voice to believe. If you've been battling those whispers, if you've been fighting that mental warfare in secret, if you recognize your own story in these words, I need you to do something right now. Type in the comments, "I choose heaven's voice," 4 words. But when you type them, you're doing more than leaving a comment. You're drawing a line. You're making a declaration that echoes in the spirit realm. You're telling every lying voice that's been tormenting you, your time is up. You're announcing to heaven, I'm still listening. I still believe. I'm still here. Because chosen one, the enemy's lies about you are proof, undeniable proof, of your prophetic threat. And Monday is the day you stop defending yourself against accusations and start walking in the authority you've been carrying all along. But here's what you need to understand about Monday's shift, and why your choice today determines everything that happens next. Chosen one, what you're feeling right now isn't just personal restlessness, it's ancestral awakening. Listen to me carefully. That pressure in your chest, that weight on your shoulders, you can't explain, it's not yours alone. You're carrying something that's been building for generations. Every prayer your grandmother whispered on her knees at 4 a.m. when she thought no one was listening. Every tear your mother shed into her pillow, crying out for someone in her bloodline to finally break free. Every silent sacrifice your father made, working 3 jobs while his dreams died in his chest. Heaven has been collecting it all. Revelation 5-8 tells us about golden bowls full of incense, which are the prayers of God's people. But here's what will shake you. Those bowls don't evaporate. They don't disappear. They accumulate. They store. They wait for the appointed time when heaven says, "Now, pour them out." Monday, those bowls tip over your life. You thought you were just trying to survive your 70s, your 80s. You thought you were just trying to make it through another week with your medications, your doctor appointments, your quiet routines. But what if I told you that God didn't keep you alive this long just so you could exist? What if every year you've survived, every decade you've endured, was because you're the one, the chosen vessel appointed to catch what's been accumulating in heaven's vault for 3, 4, 5 generations? You are not random. You are deliberate. Think about it. Why are you still here when others in your family are gone? Why did you outlive your siblings, your friends, the ones who seemed stronger than you? Why has God kept breath in your lungs when you've been ready to go home for years? Because you're the torchbearer, the chain breaker, the generation that finally says, "No more. It ends with me, and it begins with me." Look at Caleb, 85 years old in Joshua 14:10-12. 85. While everyone else was talking about retirement and settling down, Caleb stood up and declared, "Give me this mountain. Not give me peace, not give me rest. Give me the battle. Give me the giants. Give me what everyone else is afraid to fight for." Why? Because Caleb understood something most people miss. Age isn't a countdown to death. It's an accumulation of authority. Every year you've walked with God, every trial you've survived, every time you got back up when others stayed down, that's compound interest on your spiritual account. And Monday, it's time to make a withdrawal. But here's what breaks my heart. Too many of you think you're walking this road alone. You think it's just you versus your problems, you versus your pain, you versus your past. But Hebrews 12:1 declares, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses," surrounded, not watched from a distance, surrounded, encircled, encompassed. Your grandmother who died praying for breakthrough? She's watching. Your mother who never saw her dreams fulfilled? She's watching. Your father who worked himself into the grave believing it was all for nothing? He's watching. And they're not just spectators, they're witnesses. They're testifying to heaven. That's the one. That's the carrier. That's who we were interceding for. Entire bloodlines are holding their breath, waiting to see if you'll pick up what they had to put down. Anna the prophetess understood this. 84 years old in Luke 2:36-8. She spent decades in the temple, fasting and praying, waiting for something she couldn't see yet. People probably thought she was crazy. An old woman who wouldn't leave the temple, who kept declaring that redemption was coming. But when baby Jesus was brought to the temple, Anna was the first to recognize him. Why? Because she carried the mantle of generational expectation. She was the culmination of centuries of prophetic longing. And when the moment came, she didn't miss it. Monday is your moment, and you cannot miss it. Do you understand the weight of what I'm saying? This isn't about you getting a personal blessing. This is about bloodline redemption. When you step into what God has for you on Monday, you're not just unlocking your own destiny, you're unlocking your children's future, your grandchildren's inheritance. Your great-grandchildren who haven't been born yet, they will walk on ground you're paving right now. The enemy knows this. That's why the warfare against you has been so vicious. That's why he's tried to kill you with depression, with isolation, with the lie that you're too old to matter. Because if he can convince you to give up now, he doesn't just stop you. He stops everyone coming after you. But you're still here. You're still breathing. You're still believing, and that terrifies hell. So right now, I need you to do something that's going to shift the atmosphere. Say it out loud wherever you are. In your living room, in your car, in your bedroom. Say these 5 words. I carry my family's mantle. Say it again, louder this time. I carry my family's mantle. When you declare that, you're not just making a statement. You're making a covenant. You're telling every ancestor who prayed and never saw the answer, I've got it from here. You're telling your descendants, you won't have to fight what I'm fighting. You're telling heaven, I'm ready to receive what's been stored in those golden bowls. And you're telling Monday, I'm not coming as a victim. I'm coming as a victor. I'm not coming broken. I'm coming as a breakthrough. I'm coming to collect what my bloodline has been sowing for generations. This is why you couldn't die when you wanted to. This is why God kept you when it made no sense. You're not leftovers. You're the harvest. And Monday, the reaping begins. But the question that will determine everything is this. Will you carry the mantle with the weight it deserves, or will you shrink back into comfort when discomfort is what unlocks the generational door? You feel it, don't you? That tremor in your spirit, that unsettling sensation that the ground beneath your feet is no longer stable. For weeks now, maybe months, you've been walking on what felt solid, your routines, your prayers, your quiet resignation to how things have always been. But something is shifting, the foundation is cracking, and you can't explain it to anyone because they're not feeling what you're feeling. Chosen one, this is not your imagination. This is not age. This is not anxiety. What you're sensing is the rumble before the earthquake. Heaven is about to shake everything that can be shaken in your life. And I need you to understand something that will change how you see Monday. The shaking is not destruction. It's construction. Listen to the word of the Lord in Haggai 2:6-7. Once more, in a little while, I will shake the heavens and the earth, and I will fill this house with glory. God doesn't shake to collapse you. He shakes to remove what was never supposed to stay. The relationships that drained you, the mindsets that limited you, the fear that paralyzed you, the doubt that whispered you were too old, too late, too forgotten. Every tremor you've felt in your spirit has been heaven's demolition crew, tearing down the walls of delay that have surrounded your destiny for decades. You thought the shaking meant something was wrong. But what if the shaking means everything is finally aligning? Think about the children of Israel at the Red Sea, Pharaoh's army behind them, water ahead of them, mountains on both sides, trapped, terrified, convinced they were about to die in the desert. But then Moses lifted his staff, and God didn't calm the waters. He split them. The ground beneath the sea cracked open. The earth itself shook. And what looked like certain death became the pathway to freedom. You are standing at your Red Sea right now. Behind you is everything you've known. The struggle, the disappointment, the decades of wondering if your prayers were hitting the ceiling. Ahead of you is Monday. And Monday is not just another day. Monday is the splitting. Monday is the crossing. Monday is the moment heaven says, enough, walk through. But here's what breaks my heart. I know some of you are terrified because change at 70, at 80, at 90 feels dangerous. You've built a life around what's familiar. You've made peace with limitation. You've learned to expect less so you won't be disappointed again. And now God is asking you to walk through water that's defying gravity, to step onto ground that's still wet with impossibility, to cross into something you can't see yet. I need you to hear me. Your fear is not proof that you're not ready. Your fear is proof that what's ahead is bigger than what's behind. And the enemy knows it. That's why the warfare has intensified. That's why doubt has been screaming louder. That's why old thoughts you buried years ago have suddenly resurfaced. Because hell recognizes what you're about to walk into. Monday is crossing. Monday is crossing. Monday is crossing. Say it with me. Let it become the rhythm of your heartbeat. Because repetition is how heaven seals truth into human consciousness. The Israelites didn't just think about crossing the Jordan. They marched around Jericho 7 times. They repeated the act until their obedience became their breakthrough. You are in your 7th lap right now, and Monday is when the walls fall. Joshua 3:15-17 tells us that when the priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant stepped into the Jordan River, the waters didn't part until their feet touched the water, not before. Not when it was convenient, not when it felt safe. The miracle required the step. The crossing demanded the risk. You've been waiting for the waters to part before you move. But God is waiting for you to move so the waters can part. Monday is your step into the water moment. And the moment your feet touch what looks impossible, heaven will respond with what looks undeniable. Let me tell you what's really happening. Every closed door you faced was God protecting you from crossing too early. Every delay was divine timing, making sure the enemy's army would be drowned when you finally walked through. Every year you spent in the wilderness was preparation for the promised land you're about to possess. Nothing was wasted, nothing was random. It was all leading to this Monday. But crossing requires something most people aren't willing to give. The death of looking back. Lot's wife looked back and turned to salt. The Israelites wanted to return to Egypt every time the journey got hard. Your breakthrough will not survive if you keep one foot in yesterday. This is your covenant threshold. A threshold is not a resting place, it's a passing through place. You don't build a house on a threshold, you don't set up camp there. You step over it, and once you do, there is no return. The ground behind you collapses, the bridge burns, the door seals. Some of you are thinking, but what if I fail? What if I'm wrong? What if this is just emotion? Let me ask you this, what if you're right? What if that stirring in your chest is God Himself confirming that Monday is your assigned crossing? What if your hesitation right now is the only thing standing between you and the life you've been praying for? Monday is not negotiable, it's not optional, it's not a suggestion from heaven, it's a summons. And those who cross will never be the same. Those who hesitate will watch from the shore as others walk into their inheritance. If you're ready to cross, if something in your spirit just said yes, even though your mind is still afraid, type in the comments right now, I won't look back. 4 words. But those 4 words become your covenant with heaven, your declaration to hell, your witness to the angels. You are crossing, and nothing will pull you back to the wilderness. Monday is covenant. Monday is crossing. And you, yes, you were born for this threshold. But what happens when you actually cross? What waits on the other side of Monday's shaking? That's what we must understand next, because the crossing is only the beginning. Do you know why your life has been so hard? I'm talking to the 70-year-old woman who buried 3 husbands and still wakes up alone. I'm talking to the 85-year-old man whose children moved across the country and forgot to call. I'm talking to every chosen one who spent decades wondering if God was punishing them or preparing them. Listen to me. Oil only flows where there's crushing. You think your pain was random? You think those years of financial collapse, health battles, betrayals that cut to the bone, you think that was just bad luck? No, that was the olive press. And you, dear one, you were the olive. In ancient times, when they harvested olives, they didn't gently squeeze them. They crushed them. They placed them under massive stone wheels that ground down, pressing with thousands of pounds of force until every last drop of golden oil flowed out. The olives that produced the purest oil, they were crushed the longest. That's you. That's been your life. Every year you cried yourself to sleep crushing. Every diagnosis that shook your faith crushing. Every time you buried someone you loved crushing. Every door that slammed when you were certain God was opening it, crushing, crushing, crushing. But here's what the enemy never wanted you to know. Crushing wasn't your destruction, it was your extraction. God wasn't breaking you down. He was pressing out what was always inside you, sacred oil that could only flow through pressure. Do you remember where Jesus went the night before his crucifixion? Gethsemane. You know what that word means in Hebrew? Oil press. Think about that. The Son of God, facing the weight of humanity's sin, didn't go to a temple. He went to a garden named after crushing. He went to the place where olives were ground into oil, and there, under the weight of what was coming, he sweat drops of blood. He was being pressed, crushed, extracted. But that crushing in Gethsemane, it led to resurrection power. It led to empty tombs. It led to Pentecost. 50 days after that crushing, on the day of Pentecost, the Holy Spirit descended like tongues of fire. Acts 2-3 says, "They saw what seemed to be tongues of fire that separated and came to rest on each of them." Fire, not gentle warmth, not soft comfort. Fire that burned with such intensity it changed everything it touched. Do you see it now? Crushing became oil. Oil became fire. Your decades of pain weren't wasted. They were fuel. Every tear you cried in secret. Liquid oil. Every night you wanted to give up but didn't. More oil. Every time you chose to forgive when bitterness would have been easier. That's oil filling the lamp. And now, right now, God is holding a match over everything you've endured. Monday is the ignition. You've been carrying oil for 70, 80, 90 years. You've been pressed and crushed and ground down until you wondered if anything was left. But what's left isn't weakness. It's the purest, most concentrated oil heaven has ever seen. And when fire touches oil, beloved, it doesn't just burn, it explodes. This is why the warfare intensified. This is why you felt heavier than usual these past few weeks. Because the enemy can smell the oil. He knows what's about to happen. He knows that when Monday comes, when heaven lights the match, your life is going to ignite with such force that generations will feel the heat. Crushing became oil. Oil became fire. Fire becomes Monday. Say it with me. Say it out loud wherever you are. Crushing became oil. Oil became fire. Fire becomes Monday. Your mother's prayers, oil. Your father's failures that you had to overcome, oil. The poverty that taught you dependence on God, oil. The loneliness that drove you to your knees, oil. The shame you carried for decades until grace finally broke through, oil, oil, oil. And now Monday is coming like a torch in the darkness, not to warm you, to set you ablaze. You think you're too old for fire. Moses was 80 when the burning bush called his name. 80 years old, and God said, "Now you're ready for flames." You think your best years are behind you. Anna the prophetess was 84 when she saw the Messiah, and her tongue became fire, proclaiming redemption to everyone who would listen. This isn't about age, this is about oil. And you've got more oil than any young person who's never been crushed. You've got oil that's been aged, refined, purified through suffering that would have destroyed someone half your age. Here's the truth that's going to wreck you. Your past pain wasn't wasted, it was fuel. Every ounce of suffering, every tear, every moment you thought would kill you, it all became oil. And oil, when it meets fire, doesn't just burn. It illuminates, it warms, it transforms everything around it. Monday isn't just your personal breakthrough. Monday is a generational blaze. When your oil catches fire, your grandchildren are going to feel it. Your bloodline is going to shift. The spiritual atmosphere over your family is going to change. Because you carried oil through the crushing, and now fire is coming. If you know you carry oil, if you can feel it right now, that sacred weight of everything you've survived, type in the comments. My fire lives. Not my fire will live. Not my fire might live. My fire lives. Present tense, already burning, already real. Because Monday isn't bringing the fire, beloved. Monday is revealing the fire that's already inside you. The oil is ready, the wick is positioned, and heaven is reaching down with the flame of the Holy Spirit to touch what you thought was just pain. But here's the question that will determine everything. When the fire comes, will you let it burn? Or will you try to control it, contain it, make it comfortable for those around you? Because the fire God is about to release through you on Monday won't be tame, it won't be polite, It won't ask permission, and the choice you make in the next 48 hours will decide whether you carry the torch or watch someone else carry it for you. Chosen one, as we stand at the edge of this sacred moment together, I need you to hold on to 3 eternal truths that will anchor your soul in the hours ahead. First, remember this: Monday is not just another day, it is a prophetic doorway that heaven has marked specifically for you. The oil you've carried through decades of crushing is about to meet the fire of God's purpose. Your pain was never wasted, it was preparation for ignition. Second, the crushing you endured wasn't punishment, it was extraction. Every tear, every sleepless night, every moment you wanted to quit but didn't, produced oil that only comes through pressure. And that oil is what makes you dangerous to darkness. You don't just survive anymore, you illuminate. Third, the fire coming Monday isn't gentle, it's holy. It's the kind of fire that doesn't ask permission, it transforms everything it touches, and you were built to carry it without burning up. But here's what I need you to understand more than anything else. You are not walking into Monday alone. The God who pressed you is the same God who will light you. He hasn't brought you this far to abandon you at the altar. He is with you now, and He will be with you when the fire falls. And beyond that, look around you. See these comments, these hearts connecting across screens and states and cities. You have found your tribe. This isn't just a YouTube channel. This is a community of oil carriers, fire bearers, chosen ones who understand the weight you've been holding. We see you. We pray with you. We will stand with you when Monday comes. So, let me ask you this. Now that you know what you carry, now that you understand the crushing wasn't meant to destroy you, but to prepare you, what will you do when the fire touches your life on Monday? Before I release you into your destiny, come close. Wherever you are right now, sitting in your living room, lying in your bed, standing in your kitchen, I want to pray over you like I'm placing my hand on your shoulder, looking you in the eyes, and speaking life over every weary bone in your body. A prayer for the oil carriers. Heavenly Father, Almighty God, Creator of heaven and earth, I come before you now carrying every person who has heard this word. Lord, they are tired. They are marked by years of crushing they didn't understand. They've cried tears no one saw. They've carried weight that would have broken lesser souls. But you see them, Father. You've always seen them. Tonight, I pray that you would place your hand upon their shoulders and remind them they are not forgotten. Let them feel your presence like warm oil flowing over their heads, down their faces, into every crack the crushing created. Anoint them fresh, Lord, not with comfort that makes them soft, but with fire that makes them unstoppable. Father, bless their Monday. Before the sun rises, before their feet touch the floor, let them wake up knowing something has shifted. Open doors no man can shut. Close doors that lead to destruction. Give them discernment to know the difference. Heal what's been broken, their bodies, their finances, their relationships, their faith. Where there's been delay, release acceleration. Where there's been confusion, bring clarity. Where there's been isolation, send divine connections. Let Monday be the day their oil meets your fire, and let that fire spread to everyone they love. Protect them, Lord. Guard their minds from doubt. Silence the voices that say, it's too late, they're too old, they've missed their moment. Remind them that Moses was 80, Sarah was 90, and Anna was 84 when you moved through them with power. Age is not their limitation, it's their qualification. And Father, let this fire they carry be contagious. Let it jump from them to their children, their grandchildren, their communities. Let Monday mark the beginning of a generational blaze that burns away every curse, every chain, every pattern that has held their bloodline captive. In Jesus' mighty name, the name above every name, the name that makes demons tremble and heaven bow. I seal this prayer over every oil carrier listening right now. Let Monday be their ignition day. Let the crushing finally make sense. Let the fire fall. Amen. Now, I want to hear from you. Don't just watch and walk away. This message found you for a reason. Share in the comments what God stirred in your spirit today. What part of this word hit you deepest? What are you believing God for as Monday approaches? Let this community surround you with prayer and encouragement. You are not alone in this. And if someone you love needs to hear this, someone who's been crushed and doesn't understand why, someone who's carrying oil but doesn't know it's about to become fire, share this message with them. Don't let them miss their Monday. Your obedience to share might be the very thing that ignites their destiny. If you've been fed through this word, if it spoke to something deep inside you that's been silent for years, I want to invite you to stay connected. Subscribe to this channel, not because I need numbers, but because this is where oil carriers gather. This is where the fire bearers find their tribe. And what's coming in the weeks ahead, the words God is releasing through this channel, you don't want to miss any of it. Thank you for staying with me through this entire journey. Thank you for opening your heart, for letting these words penetrate the sacred places where only truth can reach. Your faithfulness to listen all the way through tells me everything I need to know about who you are. You're not a quitter, you're a finisher. And Monday is your finish line becoming your starting line. Before you go, let this final truth settle into your bones. The oil is ready, the match is lit, and Monday is coming like a torch in the darkness. You were not crushed to stay broken. You were pressed to become fuel for a fire that will outlive you. Now go. Carry your oil with honor. Walk toward Monday with your head high. And when the fire falls, don't run from it. Let it consume everything that's not of God, and let what remains be pure flame. You are chosen. You are marked. You are loved beyond measure, and your fire lives. God bless you, beloved. Until we meet again, walk in the oil, wait for the fire, and watch what Monday brings. Amen.